I was at your boy Rico from Street Scores, and as promised, starting the day, we're coming out with 2 videos a day for Street Scores. I'm also doing another video, technically 3 videos a day, but one is going to be for Street Scores U, which is my Georgia channel. If you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, make sure you go subscribe to that and tune to that as well, because that channel is growing too. But today, Commanders-wise, we got to take a look at how experts are comparing the Washington Commanders to other 2023 NFL teams. So we're going to look at unit grades, unit rankings, score projections, win projections, a lot of really interesting and very specific things that, hey man, a lot of people are doubting us, man. When you see this win total projection, when you see how they rank a few of our position groups and things like that, you may get a little upset. And this is like a real deep dive, analytical, super specific and detailed look into every NFL team. They didn't just do this for the Commanders, they did it for every NFL team, and then at the end did all the comparisons and charts and rankings based off of their data from all the specific teams that they ranked for every position group, every single player in the league accounted for, all of that type of stuff. Of course, these are just the projections of an ESPN writer. These are not the script writers, so we don't have anything to worry about, but it's interesting to talk about. And of course, I'm also working on a film session that's going to come out later today. That's going to be the Quan Martin film session, our 2nd round pick. So make sure you stay tuned for that video coming out shortly after this one as well. And before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel with the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm that bell next to the subscription button, all of that. And all of my videos go into very specific playlists. So if you're ever interested in just doing a deep dive into several videos that are all related by similar content and ideas and topics, make sure you go check those out as well. And again, stay tuned for all the film sessions for this entire rookie class. I'm trying to get all of these done before training camp starts, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's get it.
You tell your family you're going to be a commander.
All right, so we're going to start with the unit grades, and I believe this is out of 4. We're looking at this, and just to let you know, they have quarterback as bad as it gets, like 0.1. Like I mean, technically, because we have human beings with heartbeats that are at the position, they can't give you a complete 0. So they gave us the lowest grade that you could give somebody with at least people with a heartbeat that can throw a football. It's just crazy, man. I mean, the doubt for Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, and all of those guys is ridiculous. Quarterback-wise, they only have Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett on the list, so no third quarterback. I mean, if Jake Fromm's your third quarterback, it really doesn't matter, I guess, at that point anyway. But again, I'm a big fan of Tim Demarat, so hey, man, stay tuned for him as our third quarterback. I don't think he would make much of a difference in our rankings, but hey, man, stay tuned for him. Remember, they changed the rules to where you can have 3 active quarterbacks and they don't take up like an additional roster spot. So hey, man, these 3 quarterbacks, that thing is going to matter more than previous NFL seasons. That third quarterback is like, you know, this guy has a real chance of playing. Every NFL team is going to keep 3 quarterbacks on active roster going into every game from now on. So we do technically have a camp battle between Tim Demarat and Jake Fromm. I hope Tim Demarat wins even as a Georgia Bulldog fan. But either way, though, the most important thing is that our QB unit grade is the very minimum that you can give. Then running backs, severely underrated, 1.5. I completely disagree. Running backs, they have Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Williams, and Jared Patterson. So they don't even have Chris Rodriguez included in this and who's going to make the team and all of that type of stuff. So that's really interesting. And I don't think Chris Rodriguez is going to make a huge difference in that ranking, whether they included him or not. The fact that they have us at 1.5 just reflects how low they are on Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. And even just Eric Bieniemy as a ex-running back and how he gets running back so heavily involved in the offense and so efficient with what he did with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Pacheco, and even like Tyreek Hill and Kadarius Toney out of the backfield and things like that with Curtis Samuel and those guys that can do things like that. So, man, this projection is extremely low. Now, wide receiver 2.9, I think that's underrated as well. I really do. If it's out of 4, Our wide receivers being a 2.9 out of 4, as I feel like, I mean, even though it's green and it's the third highest we have on the team, I still feel like that's severely underrated. I think this wide receiver group, honestly, is going to go out there and look like a top 10 at minimum, potentially even top 5 unit in the NFL. And it's just really interesting to see who they project making the team. They have Marcus Kemp as the 6th receiver. I can't argue against that. That makes a lot of sense. That's who I project as well. Then tight end and offensive line, 0.5s for both of those, which is just golly, man. Even lower than the linebacker group. I mean, I still feel like the linebacker group is going to be better than a 0.6, but I feel like it's even more criminal to assume that our tight ends and our offensive line are going to be worse than the linebackers, but that's just me. I think the tight end group, I'm pretty optimistic about them, especially since Logan Thomas is looking like basically an even slightly better version of his 2021 self, and so far he's been Sam Howell's favorite target through off-season practices so far. I mean, no training camp has happened, so things can change, but so far through voluntary OTAs and mandatory minicamps, he's literally Sam Howell's favorite target. He's always open, and he's always catching the ball. Him being an ex-quarterback definitely helps in the way that he runs his routes and does things for the quarterback. He knows what a quarterback wants because he used to play quarterback for a long time, so he knows how to twist his body on certain routes to give the quarterback a bigger window to throw to box out the DB. It's like a bunch of little nuanced things that he's good at, and if he can stay healthy and he can go back to his 2021 stuff, that's going to be huge. And I love the potential of Cole Turner, Curtis Hodges, and even John Bates. The floor with him, I think we're higher than the 0.5. I'm not going to go out there and act like our tight end group is going to be top half of the league already, even though I think they have the potential to. I think even Logan Thomas, when healthy that 2021 season, man, he was arguably a top at least 12 tight end in the NFL, at least production wise. So, and with all of the other guys I named, I think this tight end group can be pretty good, but I'm not going to crown them top half of the league like I think a lot of our position groups would be. Like, I think our running backs would be top half of the league. I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Howell is a top half of the league quarterback, at the very least, just from what's around them. The receiving group, if the offensive line blocks well, Eric Bieniemy is your offensive coordinator, an offensive-minded coach. I just think that, I mean, even Sam Howell could be top half of the league. I'm not going to declare tight end top half of the league yet. Same thing with offensive line, but I think they're going to be way better than 0.5 out of 4 out of 5, whatever he's rating this. Either way, it's a dark, deep red. And then defensively, interior defense, he has us 3.5, which is cool. I mean, I think if it's out of 4, you got to give us the 3.9 or the 4. I think, honestly, there's no better defensive tackle duo in the NFL than Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. And then even on top of that, the depth for Darian Mathis is going to be a serious problem for offenses. And then on top of that, John Ridgeway was really good for us. If we didn't even have Darian Mathis, I would be very confident in this interior defensive line. But then you add Darian Mathis on top of what we had last year. It's almost as if we just drafted Darian Mathis' recent draft, because we didn't get to see him really last year. So it almost feels like he's part of this 2023 draft class. I'm telling you, a lot of people forgot about him. He's going to shock a lot of people. So hey, man, even there, I feel like it's slightly underrated, but it is what it is, man. Yeah, I just went to go confirm these are out of 4.0 because I just went to go look at the Chiefs. I was like, all right, look at the Chiefs quarterback, what they got. The highest you can get is a 4 because the Chiefs had a 4 for quarterback. That's as good as it gets. So interior defensive line, a 3.5 out of 4. That's criminal. I think that should be a 4 easily, but it is what it is, man. We're just going to be underrated in every category, clearly. Then edge rusher 3.0, and I think that may be somewhat of an underrate there, but the thing I'm most upset about is that the edge rushers are higher than the wide receivers. And I'm really high on Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I think they're going to ball out. I think that both of those guys are going to fight real hard for that next contract. And, you know, somehow, some miracle, I hope that we can end up signing both of those guys long term. Probably sign one long term and then franchise the other. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, though, to have them above the wide receiver group is a really interesting thing, because that means they have more faith in Chase Young and Montez Sweat than they do Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Jahan Dotson. That's really interesting, but either way, man, I think the edge group at 3.0 makes sense. I just think the wide receiver group should be way higher than that. I can honestly say I think they should be like a 3.5, 3.6, and again, interior defensive line should be 3.9, 4.0, point blank period. There's no better defensive tackle duo in the NFL than Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. You could argue there's better singular independent defensive tackles, like one guy that other defensive lines have, but nobody else has a better interior defensive lineman, defensive tackle tandem than the Commanders. So that should have been a 4.0, but it is what it is. Then linebacker, again, I think the linebacker group is going to be pretty good. And I still think 0.6 is underrated, but I have a little bit more faith in the tight end group and the offensive line group than I do the linebacker group if you isolate them. But at the same time, the linebacker group is going to benefit from having such a great secondary behind them and a ridiculous defensive line in front of them. So we'll see how that goes. And then cornerback and safety, 2.0s for both. I just feel like they got lazy right there. Like, just give them 2 whites. We don't even feel like breaking down this team. We don't care about them enough. We only project them winning them 5.2 games based on our statistics anyway. So they got towards the end and just said, just F it, give them 2.0s for both. I strongly disagree here. I think our secondary, like I've been saying, is going to be between our receiver group, our defensive line, which includes interior and edge, and our DB group, which includes cornerback and safety, that are going to be arguably the best position groups on this team and arguably some of the best position groups in the entire NFL. I'm telling you. So I think this DB group is severely underrated. And again, they definitely include our draft class. So again, no Chris Rodriguez at running back is really interesting because they definitely have Jartavius Quan Martin and Emmanuel Forbes at DB and things like that. So they're there. Then they have Khaleke Hudson under David Mayo and Cody Barton in the depth chart. So clearly this information isn't extremely up to date, or maybe they just don't have as much information they should, because right now it's Jamin Davis, Khaleke Hudson as your linebacker 1A and 1B. And then after that, Cody Barton's linebacker 3, David Mayo's linebacker 4. So even just by that, you can tell that, you know, this just isn't that accurate. They don't know that much about our team, but that's cool. I think it's going to be really fun that everybody's underrating us like this, and then we're going to go out there and surprise a lot of people. Again, 5.2 projected wins is crazy. And then team stat rankings, which is really interesting. They see us having the 13th most attempts, the 19th most completions, the 24th most yards, and the 30th most touchdowns. That's some interesting data. That's really weird and specific. I'm not going to dive into that too much. Rushing wise, they see us having the 17th most attempts, the 21st most yards, but dead last in touchdowns, which is also very interesting. I'm just like, I don't know where that came from. And then defense, we just drafted one of the best ball hawks in this come out of the draft in years, and they still have us almost dead last in interceptions that we're going to get, but they have us 20th in tackles, 18th in sacks, even with as good as that defensive line that they even have us having. But again, I love how underrated we are, man. I will take it. I'm not complaining at all, man. I'm not looking for any validation from these ESPN people. I want them to keep sleeping on us, so when we go out there and ball out this season, everybody has this crazy shocked face on their face, and then we're going to be able to play old clips of them doubting us, and then the recent clips of them finally supporting us and seeing how like serious we are. So hey, man, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. Again, keep underrating us, please. And then weekly score projections is really interesting because they see us scoring 21.4 against the Arizona Cardinals, but 17.5 for the Cardinals to score against us, and they see us winning that game 64% wise. Every other game they have us losing probability wise more than they have us winning. All we have right now win wise is the Cardinals, and then we're dead neutral with the Los Angeles Rams week 15. Other than that, they see us having a disadvantage going into every game that we play. Even the Falcons 47%. So they give the Falcons a 53% chance to beat us, and they give us a 47% chance to beat them. Same thing with the Chicago Bears. I mean, they're doubting us against everybody. The New York Giants for one game, they give us a 33% chance against the Giants this game, but then a 40% chance this game. But that's because one is away, the other one's home. So I can understand that. But out of the way, man, these percentages are crazy. Like 19% out here, 14% fit. We just beat the Philadelphia Eagles last year, and we were easily worse last year than I feel like we're going to be this year, even just by the change of Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell at quarterback. That's simple. And they still give us a 14% there. So that's really interesting. Can't be too mad at the Buffalo Bills because last time we played them, we got mutilated. But again, I think we're a way better team. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, you can sit here if you want to pause the video and take a good look at this for a long time to take like really a good grasp of how they feel. The most important thing though is they feel like we have the 25th strength of schedule ranking, 25th like easiest. So technically we have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL according to them. And then projected wins 5.2, which is only team worse than us is the Cardinals, who are dead last. They have us 31st. So they think we're going to be the second worst team in the NFL according to all of these stats, projections, all of these advanced analytics, all of that stuff, all of these unit grades we just went over, and these projected stat rankings and things like that. They have us ranked 31st in the NFL. So, hey, just again, please keep underrating us. I love it. That we're gonna feed off of that, I'm telling you. And then unit grades are really interesting. If you go across the board, and let me move this up a little bit so y'all can see it a little bit better. The Washington Commanders, again, these are the unit grades that we were looking at earlier. So you get to kind of see how we compare against other NFL teams. Again, this is another one where if you want to pause it, like on this screen, if you really just want to do a deep dive and look at every single team, every position group, everything like that, you can. But we're going to go ahead and move on. It's just a good way to look at how we compare to everybody else. And this is in order of the teams they felt like are going to be the best overall. So it's not an alphabetical order, and it's not necessarily an order of any particular position group. It's an order of which teams they feel like will just have the best teams in the entire NFL. And even though they had us 31st according to wins, but that includes strength of schedule, they feel like we're the 26th best team in NFL, but because of our strength of schedule, we have the 31st projected wins, if that makes sense to y'all. And again, the quarterback thing is so disrespectful. 0.1, like literally the worst in the NFL. They think Sam Howell is going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL. That is just insane to me, man. That's just crazy. And now we're here with that interior defensive line being a 3.5. Who do they have better than us? The Miami Dolphins with a 3.6. The 49ers with a 3.9. The New York Giants with a 4.0. The Falcons with a 3.8. What am I not getting here? Bro, I'm almost sure Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen are the best defensive tackle duo in the NFL. But it's cool, though. It's cool. And then look at all of these receiver groups they have better than us. Again, we have a 2.9. Look at all of these deeper greens than they have in us. It's cool. We're going to show them. We are going to show them. I'm not worried about it at all. And then look at all these secondaries they have better than us. Oh yeah, we're gonna show them. We're gonna show them this year. I'm really excited because I'm very confident in us being way better. Not only just better, but way better than a lot of these projections view us, especially this one. And again, this guy did a really deep dive. If you want to go Google this, you can, as well as Mike Clay's 2023 NFL projection guide. He did a deep dive into every single team, every single player, every single position group, every stat possible, and all that type of stuff. So this is a very detailed look, but he's definitely overlooking us. We're severely underrated in my opinion. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like in this video if you liked it and learned anything. Please stiff arm that like button. Please make sure you stiff arm that subscribe button and the bell next to the subscription button. And of course, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. Of course, I want to get in those comment sections. I still got to get in the comment section from my previous video, so I will get there to read the comments and reply and everything. My welcome back Rico report, so make sure y'all stay patient with me there. But also in this video, get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Not even just the Commanders overall, whether we're underrated or underrated, overrated, all of that type of stuff. Let me know how you feel about every single position group. Do you feel like our quarterback room is severely underrated? Do you feel like our edge rusher group is overrated, especially with it being higher than our receiver group? All of that type of stuff. Our running back group, everything. So make sure you get in the comment section. Let me know your feelings on everything in this video. And man, I'm going to catch y'all later with the Quan Martin film session. I'm out.